Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you're listening from. It's me, Lisa, and this is Untitled, the podcast without a name. This episode is not really about what I do or what's happening outside. It's more about what I feel, or actually what I don't feel. And I imagine there are quite a few people out there who feel the same way. In the last few years, I realized something. Why is it that you can achieve something really hard, something really big, something meaningful, and still not feel proud? Or you feel proud, but that moment goes away fast. I've had moments like that, too many situations like that. Moments where I did something that objectively I know is a big deal. And not just in running, I mean in general. And instead of really feeling that feeling or, staying in that feeling, I move on immediately. I want to share it with someone I love. And even when I do, it still fades. So it's like I go from I did it to, okay, what's next? And the more I reflect on this situation, or when I share it with someone and we talk about it, I begin to understand myself and the whole psychological reason behind, because this is not random. And for me, a big part of it goes back to how I grew up. Never involved in sports or competitions or races. So instead, you keep going. You keep working on the next thing. And I know I've been through hard shit in my life before. Still, there's something about doing something physical, like something measurable, and that hits differently. And I remember those moments, finishing a run, finishing a race, feeling proud. But that feeling never lasted long. So every time I achieved something, I couldn't stay there. I moved on right away. And I think a part of that is also, you know, I want to be really honest here, because there are two sides to this for me. When things don't go well, or when I don't reach a goal, I feel it. I'm going through it, right? I don't let it go easily. I just can't. Like with the Berlin Marathon or other races or some other situations in life. But let's talk about Berlin. The race was horrible. My worst race experience I've ever had, and I couldn't let it go. I needed to do another marathon even though it wasn't planned, because I needed to fix it. I couldn't just accept it. So when things go wrong, I hold on to it. But when things go right, it's completely different. I feel proud. Maybe I feel proud for a moment, but more like, okay, the job is done. So what's next? Like, work is done, and then it's just gone. And I've noticed this pattern over and over again. And honestly, I keep expecting this big lasting feeling of pride. Like the one I had after my first race, the one I really took seriously, the 4 mile race. I love to talk about that. The feeling stayed with me for 2 or 3 weeks. But since then, it never really came back the same way. And this is not just emotional or you know, psychological. I think it's actually it's biological. So your brain is not designed to keep you in a state of satisfaction, especially not if you are an athlete. Your brain is designed to keep you moving. Some people think the reward is the goal, but actually the strongest feeling happens in the pursuit, right? In the process. So, and on top of that, your brain adapts. Over time, what once felt like a big deal, that becomes normal. So your first race feels huge. Your first long run feels like almost impossible. And then suddenly, it's just something you do. And this creates a cycle. And if you don't understand that, it can feel like nothing is ever enough. And sometimes it feels like you're on a treadmill of expectations. You keep running, you keep improving, but you are never really there. Because every time you reach something, it becomes the new normal. The finish line just moves. So, if you are an athlete, someone who is driven, someone who trains really hard, someone who shows up consistently in different areas of life, you are never really fully satisfied. Not because something is wrong with you, because the goal is not satisfaction. The goal is improvement. An athlete doesn't train to feel, I'm done, right? An athlete trains to get better, better than yesterday, better than the last time. So, not feeling done is not the problem. It's part of the whole process. Emotionally, it can still feel hard, even if you understand that. And sometimes you lose connection to your own progress. I've seen that in myself, achieving something and not even really acknowledging it. Yeah, that's me. Moving so fast that it almost feels like it didn't even happen. And I think the first time I really realized that was after my first New York City marathon. But progress doesn't feel like progress while you are in it. It feels slow sometimes. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. But that's exactly what it is. Progress rarely feels like progress. And still, you have to keep going. It's built in the small things, the consistent things. And sometimes it takes time to catch up with yourself. And this connects back to something bigger. Everything we do in training is a reflection of how we move through life. Showing up, practicing, repeating, failing, you do it again. The approach of an athlete is simple. You expect progress. You don't quit just because of one bad day or a bad run or a bad race. You reflect, you adjust, you keep going. Even when you don't feel confident sometimes, because confidence is not always there. It comes and goes. And if you depend on it, you won't get far. If you want to win something, you have to be ready to lose something. And that applies to life in general, right? If you want to win some, you have to be ready to lose some. And nobody really talks about that part. Nobody talks about how hard you are on yourself when things don't go well, how long it stays in your head and how heavy it feels, how lonely it can be, how much you question yourself, how often your mind tells you to quit. And still, you show up again. Because, somewhere along the way, the breaking becomes the making. And it's not about, it's not about the medals. It's not about the recognition. It's not even about the outcome. It's about who you become, the discipline, the resilience, the ability to trust yourself. And that's something no one can take from you. And yes, not everyone is wired like that. Not everyone thinks like an athlete. Not everyone wants that kind of life. And that's totally fine. Because being wired like that is not just about running or training, it's about how you approach everything. It's discipline even when no one is watching, structure even when life is chaotic, showing up even when you are tired, when you work full time, when you have a lot going on. It's choosing growth over comfort, over and over again. And that is not easy. It's not easy. And it's not for everyone. And that's okay. But if you are someone who feels that, who lives like that, who keeps going, even when it's hard, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, this is something you learn over time. When you think like an athlete, when you are an athlete, not reaching a goal doesn't mean it's not in you. Because if you've been consistent and you've put in the work and you've shown up again and again, it's there. It's already in you. You just haven't brought it out yet. And that's a very different perspective because sometimes it's not about effort. It's about timing. Sometimes things don't align, especially in running, in races, also in life. You don't control everything. You just can't, right? You don't control the weather. You don't control your body on that exact day. In a way, you can, but you can't. So, you don't control how everything comes together. But what you do control is the work you put in. And if you've done that, if you've really done that, then you know. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Not if, just when. Thanks for listening. and I will talk to you soon.